Welcome to the milk bar. 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 Welcome to the milk bar.
Welcome along to episode 627 of The Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And coming up on this week's show, we'll be talking books, not only with William Stafford, who has Space Pickle available in hardback for the first time, but also having an natter with Paul Pennington about his release, which helps those who need to work on the communication side of things and get their message across, whether it be in interviews for broadcast or in the sales workspace too. That's all coming up. Plus, we'll have music. We'll be hearing from serious Child and Andy Ruddy's Andy Ruddy, and we're having a natter with Michael Armstrong as well, finding out what's going on with him. Plus, we catch up with Jeff Brazier too, as he talks about the joys of going on holiday and how some parents are prepared to earn less to be able to get out there and spend more time with the kids. That's all on the show this week. Often a book will work its way from hardback into paperback, but that's the other way around for Space Pickle. I think that kind of sums up the whole genre and concept as well. William Stafford joins me now to tell me more. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
I'm all right for a Sunday.
Sundays can be confusing, but so can space science fiction and all the weirdness that goes on in the world of literature. And you're sort of a chief protagonist in that case. So tell us a bit about how this book came to be, because it's been paperback and Kindle before, but now it's in a fine, glorious, shiny hardback edition.
Yes, and here it is, hardback. Yeah, I wrote Space Pickle about 3 years ago, and I just left it in an envelope, and then I dug it out again and thought, no, this is better than I remember it. So I tweaked it and got it into shape and sent it away, and it appeared on Kindle, like all of my books are on Kindle, and then I was offered the chance to do a print-on-demand paperback. And what I like about print-on-demand is they're not printing thousands and thousands, which if they don't sell, then end up, in the recycling bin. So they're only printed for the people who actually want one. And so that came out at the beginning of the year, and it did pretty well. And then I got a message saying, well, do you want to do a print-on-demand hardback as well? And I jumped at it, and it's a beautiful thing. I'll just show it again. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm really proud of it. Never mind the words inside it, just as an object and something to own. It would enhance any bookshelf.
That's the way to do it. We like that idea. But give us the background on your writing, because I know you from your reviewing times. Remember when we used to have theatre?
Oh, yeah, I remember theatre, happy days. It's just coming back now. I've reviewed 2 shows, apart from doing 2 a week. I've done 2 this year. So it is coming back, and look forward to seeing you again at the Grand. Yeah, I've always been a writer, all my life. And I went through a period where I was between jobs, as they say, and I decided to concentrate on my writing. And my first book came out, and that was 7 years ago now, something like that. And I sort of got in contact with a ebook publisher, and they put out 27 of my books. So I've now got 31 out, and the most recent ones are available in other formats. But yeah, I do most of my writing on my way to work. I have a long commute to Stratford-upon-Avon every day, so that gives me plenty of time to sit on the train in the morning and scribble in my hardback notebook, and and out it all comes. So
27 books, 1 in hardback, the rest of them say various formats. But
point of order, Mr. Chairman, 31 books.
31, right? Okay. Yeah,
4 of them are in paperback, and 1 of them is in hardback now.
So all science fiction, or all different genres, or what?
All different genres. I mean, the common thing is they're all humorous. I'm not exactly like I can't even say it because I'm not doing it. I'm not making parodies of them, but they are sort of light-hearted, humorous things. I've got 10 books in my crime series, which is about a pair of detectives called Bruff and Miller, and they operate in a version of my hometown. My hometown is Dudley, but very cleverly, I changed the U to an E, so they work in Deadly because all the murders going on. So people can recognise landmarks and streets and things from the real Dudley in the fictitious Deadly.
So I've got my Kindle to hand though. So how am I finding you? What do we do on here?
Well, if you just search for me, don't type me, type William Stafford.
With the publishing, I mean, obviously, a lot of people self-publish these days, but obviously you've got a partner who is actually pushing your work out there, and I think that really makes a difference to get it to a good wide audience, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's half and half. Well, it's not half and half. It's 27 are with this publisher, and 4 of them are ones that I've independently published because I have the flexibility of the different editions. And, you know, in the future, some more will come out with this publisher and some more will come out on what I've done. So, yeah, it's the flexibility and deciding when exactly you want to put something out.
Well, I'm finding 27 entries straight away on my Kindle, so I should be downloading some of that in a short while's time.
Right.
But when it comes down to something like Space Pickle, I mean, it's out there in this form. I mean, it can be a coffee table. You can leave it lying around and people can be impressed by it, can't they? And as you say, the shiny cover's working well, particularly with the giant pickle on the front.
Well, yeah, I mean, there isn't a pickle in the book. I mean, that's a spoiler. It's a metaphorical pickle. I could have called it Space Trouble or Space Kerfuffle, but you try find a picture of a kerfuffle, you know, a space pickle. You know, it lends itself very well. So that's how the title came about. And, you know, the story originated from just watching Star Trek all my life and loving it. And I thought, I want to write something in that kind of vein, but I didn't want it to be Star Trek. So my ship is not one of these exploration ships. There's nothing militaristic about it at all. It's a cruise liner. It's a bit like The Love Boat. Remember that old series?
Oh dear, yes. I think we're both showing our age now. Yeah.
My gran told me about it.
Yeah,
and, so it's like The Love Boat in space. But there's all sort of elements that have influenced me from horror films. There's a bit of Alien in there. There's a bit of Star Wars in there. You know, there's a bit of everything that I've watched and I've distilled into this story. And you know, my captain, I've got one up on Star Trek. They've had female captains, they've had black captains, they've had also alien captains. They haven't had a gay one. I've got a gay captain in my ship, so I've beat them to the punch there.
There we go. It's nice to see everybody represented in these things, exactly the way it should be. That's what it'd be like in space. So we search you on Kindle. How else can we get hold of you?
Well, I'm on social media. I've got a page on Facebook. People can like. I've got a blog where I publish short stories that are available for free. I try and put at least one a week up there, and that's if you just search William Stafford novelist, it will come up. It's a WordPress site. It's quite easy to access. But I put links on my Facebook page and on my Twitter at William Stafford. So if you want to read my stuff for free, you know, try before you buy. You're very welcome to do that.
Well, check it all out there and enjoy everything from every genre, most backgrounds, and with 30 odd books out there. Quite clearly, the commute is a useful way of spending your time.
I would go insane otherwise. There's only so many times you can watch the hedgerows of Warwickshire go past. So
as beautiful as they are, yeah, they need words and pictures to go with them, which is all flowing from your mind. But well, William Stafford, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Jason. Hope to see you in the flesh soon.
Turn the Music Down has just been released by serious Child and Andy Ruddy. Mr. Ruddy is now on the line. Hello, sir.
Hi, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Well, good to talk to you. How's it all going?
Yeah, very good, thanks. The reaction to the single's been really nice. It came out on Friday there.
Well, yes, it's not a shock, though, because I've heard it, and it's good. So that's a good start. But give us the background to the Serious Child and your good self.
Well, Serious Child, a.k.a. Alan. I call him Alan, not Serious. He met me at a gig years ago, and we met at another couple of gigs over the next 5 years. And
who was stalking who here?
Well, initially Alan was stalking me, but
right.
Eventually he booked me for a gig, and by this time Alan was releasing his own music, so we got chatting at that gig. We did a really cool co-write in 2019, and then when the pandemic happened, we basically wrote all our songs like this on Zoom. So we had all that time, and we ended up writing well over an album's worth of stuff, so that's what you hear on the forthcoming album.
Yeah, because that's not out till later in the year, isn't it?
That's correct, yeah. We're launching the album in early September.
So that's something, again, to look forward to. But this sort of flavour of what's going on, and turn the music down, unusual message, you might think, but there's a lot of different people represented in the video, and a lot of who will identify with the song, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we went for an angle with the video where we were trying to, I guess, sing in a tongue-in-cheek way on behalf of artistic people, any artistic person that's ever been told by a friend or a relative, like, come on, mate, isn't it about time? Isn't it about time you got yourself a real job? Yeah, we sort of, the song is a light-hearted hit back at that, shall we say.
But, I mean, it is good fun. And the beard's well representative in the track. I think that works.
Well, you know, I'm really doing my best. Mine is a bit of a trainee beard, to be honest, Jason. Alan is my idol when it comes to facial hair.
That is proper facial hair, isn't it? I mean, he really has got that down absolutely spot on.
He smashed it, and I do feel a bit inferior every time I see him, to be honest. I grew that beard for about 3 weeks for the video shoot.
Oh,
nowhere near good enough.
So, but by 3 weeks of me not showing, and I'm a good 3 or 4 days in at the minute, I haven't got around to having a shave today. It's absolute hell. It itches like mad thing. So, I mean, there's a price to pay for having a beard. So these hipsters, they really, you know, they're suffering for their art.
Yes, absolutely. I could talk to you about facial hair. Never mind the song.
Okay, but yeah, let's drop the tips there, because beard wax is probably another thing that we don't want to think too much about. But so when it comes to the album, is this all going to have the same filter? Because there's a bit of, you know, Simon Garfunkel in there. There's so many different bits you can hear that there's influences all over, I'm going to guess.
Well, me and Alan you wouldn't naturally put me and Alan together as a duo, and we're not a duo. We're two separate artists who have done a collaboration album, and I think what we've tried to turn what some people might perceive as a weakness in our contrasting styles, we've tried to turn that into a strength, and we're both really proud of this album because it's an absolute box of tricks in terms of style and genre, but at the same time it kind of shows that it can work as a whole. You know, Alan's 25 years older than me, and like you
remind you of that regularly, I take it.
I probably shouldn't keep saying that in interviews. He'll probably kill me the next time he sees me. But you know,
but he's that old. He'll be that slow. He won't be. No, he's not. He's still young, really.
No, honestly, I want to be like Alan when I grow up. His mind's just
don't grow up, please. Don't grow up.
Exactly. It works at 100 miles an hour. He's one of the most creative people I've ever met, and we're really proud of the fact that, you know, there isn't maybe naturally a reason why we would make an album together, but you can make a really good album with someone of a different generation, and we just found that really interesting. That's kind of why the album's called Talk About the Weather, because that is what people will. We had a song called Talk About the Weather, but people will talk about the weather as a sort of starting point of a conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, even if you don't feel you've got anything else in common, the fact it's raining on you is the same for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
So do you call him? Is he like your musical dad? Is that how it works?
I'd like to think I'm his musical dad, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just No, I mean, Alan, I have actually learnt a lot from Alan, and even in terms of songwriting as well, yeah. He sort of introduced me to a few different songwriting techniques. We wrote the album on Zoom. That was something that I'd never done before, and maybe he had, so he showed me a few different ways of, like, we wrote all the lyrics on Google Docs, and he was just firing ideas all the time, and he got so many ideas out there that it almost became like a jigsaw puzzle, strangely. So, yeah, I have learnt a lot from Alan, actually. And we've become good pals as well. So, yeah, it's been great.
And you, but obviously you had met in real life beforehand, so...
Yeah, a few times, yeah.
That helped.
Yeah, but there are people I've written over the pandemic with that I've never actually met in real life, and we've written a bunch of songs. So
it's a strange way of working, but one that it sort of works alongside the fact that most of your releases are digital these days anyway. Yes, there'll be gigs, and they're fully analog with real people in a room when it can happen fully, and you can relax and chill and do it all again properly. But it is sort of a very digital world, and you kind of grasp that with both hands.
Well, it was a bit of a life raft, to be honest, in the worst of 2020. Mm-hmm. We found routine in writing songs on a Thursday. We both happened to be free on Thursdays, and we managed to write a bunch of songs, and it was quite a helpful outlet, to be honest with you.
So we know the album's on the way. What else happens next? What's going on?
Well, we've got a tour, a sort of 12-date tour in September, early September, to launch the album. So we're going to be practicing like mad to try and get ourselves match fit for actual gigs. Mm-hmm. And we've also got another single to launch the album with, which will probably be coming late August, early September as well.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing that. Meanwhile, we're going to take a listen to Turn the Music Down. But with the way this is working, I'm just hoping that you don't try and do gigs via Zoom and have one of you turn up and the other one not. That would be bad. But... You're tempted, aren't you? Are you looking at you? You're tempted.
Well, we've done the odd live stream.
Yeah, that's quite interesting over Zoom.
Yeah, that was quite fun. Yeah.
So lots going on. So we need all the details, all the socials, etc. And maybe even a Zoom meeting link if you want to get together everyone on there.
Well, you can find us both on our social media. So if you search for Serious Child, he's been sharing our stuff. If you search for Andy Ruddy, Ruddy is me. And you can find us on social media, and all the links are on there.
And you haven't got a combined page yet. You're building up to that.
Yeah, we haven't quite crossed that bridge.
We'll see. It'll come by the album release, no doubt. I'm sure it'll happen then. Andy, good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us, and we're loving the music.
Thanks very much, Jason.
Isn't it about time you got yourself a real job? Isn't it about time you started to grow up? Isn't it about time you turn the music down? Isn't it about time? Time to stop messing around. You'll be waiting forever for the right time. You'll be praying for another 89 lives. You stop your luck and never last whenever you like. Isn't it about time? Isn't it about time you save your soul for the weekend? Isn't it about time you tied up your loose ends? Isn't it about time you gave up the pretense? Isn't it about time you showed some common sense? You'll be waiting forever for the right time. You'll be praying for another 89 lives. You stop your luck and never last whenever you like. Isn't it about time? I hate every song they're playing on the radio. I know it's not what you know, it's who you know. Hey, kids, you could be anything you want to be. Hey, kids, as long as you're there by 23. As long as you're there by 23. Isn't it about time you came over to the dark side? Isn't it about time you watch the TV every night? About time you stopped rented, started buying. Isn't it about time you signed on the dotted line? Isn't it about time you got yourself a real job? Isn't it about time you join the rest of us? Isn't it about time you turn the music down, isn't it about time? You started to grow up. Isn't it about time to get yourself a real job? Forever for the right time.
3/4 of parents are looking at reducing their work to spend more time with their kids. To tell us more about this survey, I'm joined now by Jeff Brazier. Good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I hope we find you well and your world a good one.
Yeah, no, everything's good at the minute. The football season's finished, so I've got a little bit more time to do other things. And everything's good in the world.
Yeah, because I suppose it's almost like a summer holiday for you. And when the kids' summer holidays do come along, you get a chance to spend a little longer with them than you would normally when you're rushing about.
We did that. Summer holidays was always the time when you had to restrict your work to make sure you had the balance between doing, some great stuff with the kids, or at least, taking them to the great things that they want to do with other people. And obviously still bringing in an income. But that's all changed now, really, hasn't it? Because parents have been working from home for the last 18 months, a lot of them, and there's still no sign maybe of some of them going back to the office. So, but I can see you're in one. So what's it like for you?
Well, I've been working the whole time. Don't have kids, though, so I haven't had that issue. But I do enjoy my holidays. And it's actually PGL who have put this survey together. And they're telling us that the average working parent would be happy losing 12% of their salary to allow them to spend more time with the kids.
So, firstly, in case people don't know, but PGL is what kids used to say is called Parents Get Lost. It's actually not that abbreviation, but it was basically an outdoor activity centre that you'd go to with your school. But the point is that they're now opened in the summer holidays to families. So they've done some great research and yeah, absolutely. Firstly, the last 18 months and experience of lockdowns have made parents realise that they would like to spend more time with their kids because they've obviously enjoyed it. They can see the importance of it. They can see how their kids have grown and developed for having mum and dad or guardian around far more than they potentially would have otherwise. And the effect that that's had now is that as we move forwards into this new normal or whatever it is, I guess, there's a lot of people out there that would like to speak to their employer and just say, look, I'd like to work from home a couple of days a week. I can do the job. But actually it benefits my family to do that. Whilst I also maintain that there's probably a lot of people that would like to have that balance of having some time in the office as well, because it just keeps a nice balance for them. And that has to be okay.
Yeah, there's been more than a third extra time with the kids during the lockdown period and working from home. And this is good for them because particularly the time when it's difficult for them not seeing their friends, having some parent time where they get to have a chat and really be a family time, there's something they so often miss out on. So this has been great for them. And the idea of spending some time away to the sort of adventure centre the PGL have is going to be another great way of spending time over the summer.
It's definitely an incredible idea for parents. Again, people wouldn't have necessarily looked into that in particular just because it was never available for families. But now it is. There's 10 centres around the UK that offer loads of activities, and the beauty of it is that you'd go there, you've already paid, so you don't have to keep paying for every next activity that you do. It's literally all done in one price. I always want to advocate for parents spending good quality time with their kids, making memories, and doing things together, because I know how much it benefits children. I just know that they're the memories that they'll take with them, when they're an adult sitting in a coffee shop. They'll be telling their friends about, I remember the time that I raced my dad to the top of the climbing wall. It doesn't have to be the most expensive memory. It doesn't have to be the most elaborate thing. It doesn't have to be because it was in Barbados or something that's unachievable for some people. I think it's unachievable for all of us right now. But to create memories and to be able to do it at a price point that obviously benefits all of us is a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, and with so many people looking at staying in the UK, the staycation, then this is an extra option that, as you said, they've never been able to consider before, and this has given them a great opportunity to try something for the first time.
I've been to outward bound centres when I was younger. And
but you were the ones who were selected. I was never chosen for the Outward Bound Centre, but you were, weren't you? They took you from your school.
Really, do you know what? It was never. I don't think it was about being selected. And actually, I never went through the school. But do you know what? The last time I went was when I auditioned for Shipwrecked in 2000. Mm-hmm. It was like the last 150 people that had been selected. We all went off somewhere like a PGL. And what I loved about it the most was the bits where they basically said, right, you've got to get from this side to the other, or got to build a raft or something like that. And then what they do is they step back and they see what role everybody plays. And imagine that for a family where you've got like parents and kids, they have to build something, they have to create a solution to a problem, and they get to do it as a team. I just think it's so like amazing that the parents and kids would be able to share in that experience. And I personally, all through my time as being a dad of these two boys, is that I've never really known that I could take them to places like that. I feel a little bit gutted, if you like, that I haven't done it with them more. But because of this association, I've obviously been to a PGL recently in Minehead and could see that that's exactly the sort of stuff that you would get up to. And I can't wait to take them, even though they're 16 and 18. They're like, they're yeah, we'd love to. Can we bring some friends? And next thing, we'll have a big group. We'll have a laugh. We'll all realise that I'm better than them still at climbing and running and stuff like that. And it'll be all good.
Yeah, your raft building skills. We'll have to see how that works out. We'll look forward to that on social media, Jeff. That could be interesting. Where do we go for more information about these PGL breaks?
Yeah, look, if families are interested in what we've been talking about and they want to just see maybe how much it costs and where they all are, then just go to pgl.co.uk. But I really recommend it, having been to one of their sites, knowing how much they care about the experience of the people that go there, and the fact that there's so many staff, and they're there to obviously keep you safe and make sure that you have a great time. I just know that people will really thank us for having this conversation.
Absolutely, and it sounds like it's going to be brilliant fun for the whole family. Jeff Brazier, thank you for joining us.
Jace, thank you so much.
That moment is finally here, the release of A High by Michael Armstrong. And he's with me now to let me know how it's been with the release of the album. Hello, sir.
Hello, Jason. How you doing?
I'm good, and I hope we're finding you fully excited by having this latest release out there.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Always a long build-up and a lead into these kind of things, and a couple of singles preceding it. So, yeah, I've had some really good feedback from people who bought it, and it arrived on their doorstep on the 25th, and they've been saying how much they enjoyed it. So, that's all you can ask for, really.
Well, your album work and the singles as well, but the albums are always well worth a listen all the way through, and you don't get that with all artists. So that's quite an achievement in itself. And having experienced the singles so far, loved everything we've heard as we've gone along. And it must be great seeing this out there. And it is that, again, the excitement of having a physical CD these days, isn't it, that can make the difference?
Oh, it is for me, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people stream or download, but I'm still the guy who orders physical CDs. Do you know, it's weird because my car hasn't got a CD player in it anymore. I got a new car a couple of years ago, and that was really frustrating. But I still buy CDs and I listen to them at home on the CD player, and then I I normally download them onto like a memory stick so I can have them in the car. So I kind of end up doing both. But yeah, for me, that I need that. I need to be holding that booklet and reading the words if they're in there, and finding out who played on the album, and looking at the artwork. I love the whole experience. I'm old-fashioned like that.
Right, but it is about having the source material, and I think I like the backup idea, because when I used to buy stuff on LP, on vinyl, when I was young, rather than now when I just think I'm trendy, it was all about having the physical thing. The first thing I did with it, I copied it onto cassette to use in the car, or onto mini disc to use in the car. So it was it's the same feel, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's it. So it's funny you say that. I hadn't thought about that, but of course you're right. Yeah, we've been doing that forever. It's just that the formats have changed, I guess. But yeah, I mean, vinyl for artwork and for presentation was the ultimate, wasn't it? And as you say, it's come full circle and now selling like hotcakes. So yeah, I guess these things everything goes round in a circle and it all comes back in the end. And like you say, now you're trendy. Who'd have ever thought that, Jason?
Well, I know it's shocking, isn't it? But there we go. These things can happen. So, I mean, with the release of this album, I mean, you're finding not only the people who've known your music for a while now, but also a new audience too. And I'm loving the way you've been marketing it and really getting the word out there. And it's about having fun with the music, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That's what music should be about. I mean, obviously there's a serious side to it, but essentially getting out there and playing music from the start has always been about having fun, and certainly rock and roll was. So that we should never lose that, and particularly after what we've all had. I don't want to go on about it, but the whole COVID and lockdown thing. I didn't want to make an album that was doom and gloom. Very few. My records aren't really anyway. I kind of like bright, shiny, upbeat music. Kind of stuff you can listen to if you're lucky enough to have a convertible car and be driving along in the sunshine. Neither of which I am, but. That's the kind of music I like to hear. So yes, hopefully it's fun. Hope so. And certainly has reached a wider audience this time. The singles have had a really incredible reaction and been playlisted on various stations which weren't playing my stuff before, not just here but across the world. So it's been a real. I often say that it takes 3 albums to break through. I know that happened to ELO from your neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. Their first 2 albums didn't do anything, but those are the days when record companies stuck with the bands. Nowadays, if you don't sell, if your first album doesn't sell, you're dropped. But I'm self-releasing, so I'm okay. I haven't dropped myself just yet.
The family may have suggested, but you've hung on in there, which is what counts. But give us the story of the album and how the tracks come together, because how many are we looking at on here?
There's 12 tracks on the album. The majority of them were written in Ojai, California, which is why the album is titled Ojai, which is spelled O-J-A-I. And I've had lots of fun with that name, I can assure you. Ojai, a beautiful place in California. I went there in 2018 while I was actually still recording the previous album, funnily enough. And I was there with an American singer-songwriter called Ben Folds and a bunch of other American songwriters.
And we just spent a name up for you, because you have just dropped that really well there.
Well, Ben Folds, yeah. Do you know he's not so well known over here, I don't think. I mean, he's an incredible artist.
He fell out with the other 4, didn't he? So that didn't help.
Well, it was the Ben Folds 5 of his band. They were a trio, actually, which immediately tells you what his humour was like. Yeah. So Ben Folds 5 was the 90s, and he did reconvene with them a few years ago and did an album as well. But I've been a big fan of Ben's forever. And so to get the chance to go and meet him, let alone kind of play music with him, was what I couldn't turn down. And we just had this fantastic week in California writing music, and I say a whole bunch of those songs made it onto the album. There are some other songs on there. There's a song on the album called Ordinary Woman, which I wrote when I was 16, probably, I think.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, yeah. So, that's probably the oldest song of mine that I've ever recorded. I needed a kind of ballad, slow song, I felt, to balance the album. And I listened to because I've always got stacks of songs, and I listened to what I had, and that one just stuck out. And I thought, well, it's a wonderfully innocent song, as it would be if you're that age. It just worked really well. So I'm proud of that one.
So we're going to take a listen to one of the tracks from the album now. You get to choose. What should we listen to?
Oh, goodness, you've got me there. I guess the current single is a song called Each Other's Eyes. So let's have a listen to that.
Okie dokie, we'll do that. Meanwhile, though, give us all the details on where we can find you, the album, and everything to do with it.
Best place is the website, which is michaelarmstrongmusic.co.uk. And that will link you to all the various places where you can buy the album. Physical CD you can buy from that website or from Amazon, and you can download it from all the usual places.
Michael, always good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to enjoy this track, I know it. And there'll be many, many people come to your music for the first time and are going to absolutely adore what you've done. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you soon, hopefully in real life, maybe even at a gig to plug the album.
Oh, that would be fun. Thanks, Jason. Cheers. I hope so.
When I look deep into was lost in the night until I found your sunrise. The light from your soul transcends space and time. I look through your window and I'm invited inside. You and I in each other's eyes. You've had a rough day, somebody talk down to you. All I can say is they don't see you like I do. In my eyes you're a goddess they should be bowing down to. Your tears blur my reflection and make me more sad than you. Tough day, somebody talk down to you. All I can say is they don't see you like I do. In my eyes you're a goddess they should be bowing down to. Your tears blur my reflection and make me more sad than you. Oh, when we lock eyes we see where our future lies, and all the fear and doubt in both of us dies. We hold no secrets, we wear no disguise. You and I in each other's eyes. We hold no secrets, we wear no disguise. You and I in each other's eyes.
Not only noted broadcaster, but Paul Pennington has his name on a book too. He joins me now to tell me more about his latest work. Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning, Jason.
How are we doing?
Doing very well, thank you, this morning. The sun is doing its best to try and peek through the clouds, so we're hoping for a good day.
Fingers crossed. Every day is a good day, though, when you're thinking about improving everybody else's health. And that's what you do through our Word on Health reports every time we hear from you. But there's also a chance to read some of your work, too. Explain a bit more what's going on here.
Yeah, I've been a media trainer alongside broadcaster for about 25 years now. And one of the things that I do with Word on Health every week is I get to interview charity bosses, patient organizations, etc. And I spend about 4.5 hours polishing up interviews that I've done. And what that highlights is there's a great deficiency out there amongst charities, amongst many organizations, when it comes down to basic communication skills. And in terms of meeting the media, publicity is the lifeblood of charity. And, you know, there's those old cliches, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And many broadcasters, unlike you and me, would take the time to polish up an interview and make somebody sound as favorable as we do on Word and Health and we do on Wolverhampton Community Radio. Again, it's about investment of time, and really what people should be doing is taking that time ahead of the interview to prepare properly, to ensure that they've got their right key messages, that they can conduct themselves with confidence, in control, and with credibility. And that takes training. So some years ago, I wrote the first edition of what's been called the 5-minute guide to meeting the media. There's lots of rules and regulations, but we didn't want to bombard people. We wanted to come up with something that was easy to digest, full of practical advice and step-by-step instructions to help people become better communicators.
Yeah, because it is about getting that message across, and sometimes the important message may be lost in the words that you're using, and that can happen to so many organisations, even those who you would expect to have been media trained. So it is important to make sure you have that sort of skill set there. It makes everybody's life easier, and it means that more of your interview is going to make it to air, because if somebody's got to spend a lot of time fixing it, they may well lose the important points in the edit.
They might. You're absolutely right. And of course, let's not forget, we do this week in, day out. It's our lifeblood, broadcasting. Many spokespeople that come to the microphone are very anxious, they're very concerned, and it's a case of managing that anxiety, and preparation is key. There is that old expression, fail to prepare, prepare to fail, and it's absolutely true. It's amazing how many people come into a studio with copious amounts of notes. They're flustered, they haven't taken time to prepare, they've not thought about what it is that they're saying beforehand, and immediately they put themselves into a bad position from the get-go. And sometimes, people willingly put themselves forward to talk about something that they don't really have all the facts and figures about. They don't feel completely comfortable, but because nobody else will do it, then yeah, go on, I'll give it a go. That's an unfortunate way of being able to approach the media, because especially when you've got the lights, the cameras on you, the microphone open, you are naked as such, and therefore it's a great truth finder being in the media. And these are not just skills that you can learn in order to interview fine people like yourself, or be interviewed by fine people like yourself, Jason, but it's also, we found, transferable skills that helps with sales, that helps with internal communications. I've been using these principles of media training now all over the world to assist people sell things like corporate jets, sell more financial packages, etc. Because what it does is it makes you conscious of your communication skills when you're under pressure. And if you're selling a $64 million private jet to a high net worth individual who's got 5 minutes worth of time to consider what it is you've got to say, the heat is on. You might turn up with your 143 PowerPoint slide deck, but the ultra high net worth individual has got about a minute's worth of consideration for that. So you'll get through the first slide, you'll get through the second. The rest, you might as well have forgotten. So we can apply what we learn in media training to enable us to be better communicators. And communication skills are not taught as standard. People aren't aware of the importance of active listening, of emotional intelligence, about keeping your messages simple. Like, one of the key things that I say in my book, The 5-Minute Guide to Meeting the Media, is seal everything with a kiss. Keep it simple. It's as simple as that, because again, people don't like to be sold to. We're all sophisticated consumers, and when you've said what you've got to say, as I'm going to take my own advice now, shut up.
Absolutely. Does the job, works, and it gets your message across, and it keeps it fresh in the forefront of somebody's mind, particularly if they're being bombarded by a number of different things during the day. Actually, you want your message to be the one that stands out. And for people out there as well, we're now in a digital age, and whereby radio used to be a case of sit down and read from notes potentially because no one could see you. And the same if you're doing a newspaper interview. It's different. Everything is digital. So many people are on Zoom having conversations just as we are now. I can see the colour of your eyes as we sit here and we have that chat. And it is being ready for that situation as well, because that could catch you out compared to maybe just the message that you have to say, and you could detract from it by not being prepared. Where do we go to get prepared? How do we get hold of this book?
Well, if you get yourself to the wordonhealth.com website, that's www.wordonhealth.com. You can tell I've said that a few times before. On our homepage, you'll be able to connect through to buy the book, which is only available for via our website. And alongside that, what I'm doing is I'm donating my time to do media training and executive coaching. So you get the opportunity to work with me on your messaging, on all the aspects of your personal communication, because we're all wonderfully different in our lives, and what works for one person will work differently for another. So I don't do a catch-all approach. The book in itself gives you the basic principles, and then what we do with the crowdfunding campaign that we've got going is to give people the opportunity to practice those skills on camera, on microphone. It's interesting what you say about Zoom there. What I've added to this book, which wasn't around when I first wrote it 10 years ago, was this whole thing of talking on Zoom and using Zoom as a communication tool. So I've added that and tips and pointers of how to get the best out of Zoom calls such as this, in order to achieve the objective.
Well, Paul, always good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us, and keep going out there and making a difference so everybody's broadcast interviews are easier to edit.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 628 next week, and I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.